Hey everyone, welcome back. So this past week in Asia, let me tell you, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on.
We've got everything from like trade wars brewing to car companies clashing and even some wild weather shaking things up. It's a lot to unpack, but that's why we're here.
Exactly. Let's dive in.
All right, so first up, we've got the U.S. kind of throwing its weight around, right?
Yeah.
Threatening these tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
Right, right. And it went right down to the wire, too. But for now, those tariffs are on hold. But,
Yeah.
it still feels like there's this, tension hanging in the air. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Totally like a storm cloud just waiting to burst.
Yeah,
And it doesn't help that we're still dealing with, trying to recover from the pandemic.
exactly. And then, of course, you've got the war in Ukraine still raging on. It's just adding to this, global economic anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, economists are already sounding the alarm bells about inflation and energy prices.
It's a lot to juggle for everyone.
Totally. And speaking of adding fuel to the fire, China's not just sitting back and taking it, right? They hit back with their own tariffs aimed specifically at U.S. imports, like natural resources and machinery.
Yeah. And those are pretty big targets. I mean, those sectors are kind of like the backbone of a lot of economies around the world.
Right. So disrupting them like this
Yeah.
is going to send shockwaves through the whole system.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're already seeing some jitters in the Asian markets, you know?
Yeah.
Like where?
Well, for example, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, their stock markets have all taken a bit of a dip recently.
Yeah, it's a real domino effect, huh? And in the end, you know who ends up paying the price?
Yeah. Consumers and businesses.
Exactly. They're the ones who get hit with higher prices for all these goods, both in the U.S. and in China.
Okay, so enough doom and gloom for now. Let's
Yeah.
move on to something a little more dramatic. The auto industry. Nissan and Honda, two of Japan's biggest players, they were actually in talks to merge.
Right. And initially, it seemed like it was going to be this, equal partnership, a real powerhouse team up.
Exactly. But then,
But then Honda went and threw a curveball. They proposed that Nissan basically become like a subsidiary. Can you imagine?
I know, bold move. But Nissan wasn't having it. They walked away from the whole deal.
And the stock market went wild.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Nissan shares dropped 4% after the news, while Honda's actually shot up 8%. It's crazy.
It really shows you the power of perception in the market, huh?
Absolutely. And this whole saga really makes you think, what's next for these two companies? Especially with the electric vehicle revolution, you know?
Yeah, the whole industry's in this massive transition.
And the competition is just getting fiercer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm curious to see if this failed merger will push Nissan in a totally different direction, you know? Or maybe force Honda to rethink their strategy. It's going to be interesting to watch it all play out.
For sure. All right, let's shift gears now and head over to Japan, where they've been battling some pretty intense forces of nature. Hokkaido in particular got slammed with record-breaking snowfall. We're talking
1.29 meters in just 12 hours.
that's insane. I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's like being buried in snowdrifts.
No kidding. And obviously, that completely crippled deliveries and transportation. Everything came to a standstill.
Yeah, Japan's economy, it's very dependent on having this super smooth and efficient network of logistics and supply chains.
Right, it's like clockwork over there.
Exactly. So an event like this, massive snowfall, it really throws a wrench in the whole system. It exposes those vulnerabilities.
Yeah, big time. And on top of that, there have been a bunch of earthquakes in Japan recently too, right?
Yeah, there have been.
And that's got to be unsettling for people, considering, Japan's history with major earthquakes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even small tremors can trigger a lot of anxiety in Japan. I mean, they're particularly sensitive to seismic activity.
Understandably so. And didn't experts also recently issue a warning about, a potential mega earthquake in the future?
They did, a magnitude 9 or higher, potentially. So, yeah, even the little earthquakes can feel pretty ominous under that shadow.
It's a constant reminder that nature holds all the cards.
Right.
Okay, but let's end this segment on a more beautiful note. Japan's famous cherry blossoms are blooming earlier than usual this year.
Ah, yes. Spring has sprung early.
I know. And I've heard they're expecting them to be in full bloom around Tokyo by March 22nd.
Picture it, those delicate pink blossoms against a clear blue sky. Just gorgeous.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Speaking of reaching for the sky, Japan's space program has also been making some moves lately. They just launched a brand new navigation satellite.
Yeah, and this one is going to be a game changer. It's going to significantly improve GPS services across all of Asia. It's really exciting stuff.
It is, and it just goes to show how important space technology is becoming.
Absolutely. It's not just about like communication and navigation anymore. It plays a huge role in national security now, too.
And Japan's definitely taking note of that. They just announced their plan to develop their own, like, space defense program.
Yep. Full-fledged. They're going to have this whole network of satellites, for military communications, missile detection, and even tracking potential threats.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty big statement.
It is. It's a real signal that Japan is taking its security seriously. And it's not just about Japan either. I think it has implications for the whole global power dynamic in space.
Right. It's like a whole new frontier for, potential competition, right?
Exactly. Some are even talking about the possibility of a space arms race.
Whoa. It's kind of sci-fi, but also, like, really real. Okay, well, on a more serious note, we do have some news that's raised a lot of concerns for, people traveling to Japan. The Taiwanese actress Barbie recently passed away while she was on vacation there with her family.
Yeah, it's a terrible tragedy.
It is. And it sounds like it was a really difficult situation. She started feeling sick and went to multiple clinics, but at first they misdiagnosed her with influenza.
Right. And by the time her condition got worse and she was finally hospitalized, it was unfortunately too late.
It's just heartbreaking. And it also brings up a really important point for anyone traveling abroad. Navigating a foreign healthcare system can be really tricky, especially if there's a language barrier, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It can be a nightmare trying to communicate your symptoms or understand what the doctors are saying. It's stressful enough being sick, and then you add all that on top of it.
It's a recipe for a disaster.
Yeah,
So this situation, it really highlights the importance of having travel insurance.
I can't stress that enough. And being prepared for any medical emergencies that could pop up while you're in a different country.
Being proactive about your health while you're traveling is key. If you feel off, don't wait. Go seek medical attention right away.
Absolutely. Better safe than sorry.
Mhm.
And on that note, back in Taiwan, there's actually been a surge in people getting their flu vaccinations following Barbie Hugh's passing.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like her story has really raised awareness about health risks, especially for those traveling.
I mean, it's a tragic way to spark that conversation, but hopefully it will save lives in the long run.
I hope so too. It's a reminder that amidst all the economic and political turmoil, our health and well-being should always be a top priority.
Couldn't agree more.
Mm.
Well, it's been quite the whirlwind week, to say the least. We've covered everything from trade wars and the auto industry shakeup to the power of nature and the future of space exploration.
It's been a lot, for sure.
It has. But, one of the big takeaways for me is, like, the importance of personal preparedness, whether it's being aware of the economic climate or taking precautions for your health.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and it really underscores how interconnected our world is. What happens in one corner of the globe can have ripple effects everywhere.
No doubt about it. It
Yeah.
really makes you wonder, like, what other consequences will we see from all these events in the weeks and months to come? What does this all mean for the future of Asia and its role in the world?
Those are the big questions, aren't they? And they're worth thinking about.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this journey through the ups and downs of Asia this week. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and take care of yourselves out there.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.